Once upon a time, in a small town, stood an old school with an eerie secret. The school library, known as the heart of the building, had a unique history that had been whispered among students for generations. For generations. Legend had it that the books within its dimly lit shelves were more than mere words. They held the spirits of restless souls waiting to be set free. One chilly evening, as the last school bell echoed, a group of brave students, Mia, Jake, and Lily, decided to investigate the library's dark mystery. Armed with only their curiosity and a flashlight, they cautiously made their way through the cold corridors, the air heavy with anticipation. The library stood at the end of a long hallway. Its towering doors creaked open, welcoming our trio into its eerie embrace. The space was filled with dusty shelves, each lined with ancient books, their spines cracked and worn. They ventured deeper into the labyrinth of knowledge, the silence broken only by the sound of their fearful whispers. As they reached the center of the library, the atmosphere thickened, making it hard to breathe. Suddenly, a cold draft enveloped them, despite the still air. The flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls that danced menacingly. Goosebumps crawled up their arms as they heard faint whispers coming from the books around them. "Maya, did you say something?" Jake asked, his voice quivering. "No, it wasn't me," Mia replied, her heart pounding in her chest. Out of the corner of her eye, Lily caught a glimpse of a figure lurking behind a shelf. Trembling, she pointed towards it, causing panic to spread among the group. The figure slowly emerged, revealing a ghastly apparition with hollow eyes and transparent skin. It was a ghostly librarian, wrapped between the world of the living and the dead. The spirit floated towards them, its fragmented voice breaking the silence. "Leave this cursed place. The books, they hunger for souls." Fear consumed the students, but their curiosity pushed them forward. "What do you mean?" Jake asked, his voice shaky. The librarian's voice grew louder and more desperate. "These books were written by tormented souls. They hold secrets that should never be known." Suddenly, the shelves began to quiver, their books flying off one by one. The students found themselves surrounded by a swirling vortex of ghostly pages. They desperately tried to escape, but the room seemed to trap them, holding them captive in a nightmare. Their hearts raced as the librarian's voice echoed in their ears. Summoning every ounce of courage, the students made a last-ditch effort to flee the library. They crashed through the doors, leaving behind the haunted room and its dark secrets, panting heavily as they collapsed onto the hallway floor. As they looked back, they saw the library doors slowly shut, sealing away the horrors within. From that day on, the library remained abandoned, a forgotten chamber of dark tales and lost souls, forever preserved in the whispers of the books. Within those 5 terrifying minutes, Maya, Jake, and Lily had survived an encounter with the supernatural, an experience that would forever haunt their nightmares, reminding them of the chilling whispers that awaited those who dared to delve too deep into the horror within the pages of the school library. Once upon a time, in the small town of Raven's Edge, stood an old Eerie school library. Nestled amidst towering trees, the library possessed an atmosphere both captivating and chilling. Its dark wooden shelves stretched endlessly, housing countless shelves of worn-out books, holding secrets and tales of the past. On a quiet autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the library transformed into a haunted sanctuary. Emily, a timid high school student, was studying late for an upcoming exam in the hushed solitude of this forbidden realm. Deeply engrossed in her textbooks, Emily suddenly felt an icy draft brush against her skin. She looked around, finding herself alone in the dimly lit room. A flickering light above disturbed the shadows, casting unsettling shapes across the library. As she continued reading, a faint, chilling whisper broke the silence. "Emily," the voice beckoned. Her heart raced, and she trembled uncontrollably, unsure of where the voice had come from. But curiosity spurred her on, forcing her to investigate the source. With shaky steps, Emily weaved her way through the labyrinthine rows of books, eyes darting nervously in search of the voice. The once familiar library turned into an icy maze as the whispers grew louder and more eerie with every step she took. Her mind swirled with terrifying thoughts, and an unexplained presence surrounded her. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, she caught sight of a bookshelf that seemed out of place. Intrigued, yet apprehensive, Emily approached it, her trembling fingers tracing the ancient spines. Gazing intently at the mysterious books, she hesitated before pulling one out and opening it. As the pages unfurled, a gust of wind blew through the library. The entire room seemed to come to life. Ghostly figures materialized from the darkness, drifting through the aisles. Their wispy forms whispered eerie tales and ancient curses. Emily's heart raced, each breath a desperate gasp as she tried to comprehend the horrors unfolding before her. She pleaded silently for an escape, for retribution from the oppressive atmosphere that engulfed her. Suddenly, a voice from within the spectral abyss reached her ears, a soothing voice from another world. It whispered of courage, of finding strength within the darkest of moments. Emboldened by this ethereal guidance, Emily realized that she must confront her fears and the supernatural forces that held her captive. Summoning her waning courage, Emily recited an incantation hidden amongst the forbidden pages she had found. The surroundings shook violently, as if the very foundations of the library trembled with her enchantment. As the dust settled, the ghostly apparitions faded away, the whispers silenced. The library regained its stillness, bearing only the traces of an eerie past. Emily stood triumphant, knowing she had conquered the horrific forces that threatened to consume her. With the horror dispelled, the library returned to its familiar, tranquil state. Gathering her belongings, Emily made her way to the exit, clutching the book that had led her to salvation. From that day forward, she never entered the library after dark, but its secrets would remain intact within the confines of her memory, a chilling reminder that even the most innocuous places can house the most sinister of horrors.